Hello and welcome to a new episode about mythical creatures. Today I'm taking you into the fascinating world of the chupacabra. The chupacabra is an enigmatic creature that has been the subject of many legends since the 1990s, especially in Latin America and the southern USA. The name chupacabra comes from Spanish and literally means goat sucker, from chupar to suck and cabra, goat, as the creature supposedly kills livestock, especially goats, by sucking blood. The chupacabra is associated with mysterious and brutally killed farm animals that are often found without blood and with strange bite marks on their necks or bodies. I'll tell you a little about its origins and development up to the present day. Be surprised by what I've discovered about this still relatively young species. The legend of the chupacabra began in Puerto Rico in the mid-1990s and is considered by many historians and mythologists to be an example of the creation of modern myths. The first documented sighting and mention of the creature occurred in March 1995 in the town of Canovanas, when 8 sheep were found dead. They each had 3 small puncture wounds to their chests and their bodies were found to be drained of blood. The disturbing circumstances initially led to rumors of a new type of predator that might be responsible for the unusual killings. The legend quickly spread after reports of numerous similar incidents emerged in other Puerto Rico towns and cities that same year. Residents began to speak of a mysterious creature that killed animals and sucked their blood. However, there were 2 crucial elements that cemented the chupacabra myth: the description of the creature and the media coverage. One of the most famous eyewitness accounts comes from a woman named Madeleine Tolentino, who lived near Canovanas. She described the creature as being about 4 feet tall, with large black eyes, reptilian skin, long claws, and a crest of spikes on its back. Tolentino's description shaped the public image of the chupacabra. In her words, the creature resembled something alien or a genetically modified creature. Media in Puerto Rico and other Latin American countries picked up the story and reported on the chupacabra attacks. The coverage made the chupacabra myth known internationally, especially in Mexico and the southern United States, where the stories attracted widespread interest. The reports were not only broadcast on news but also on talk shows and television documentaries, further spreading the image of the chupacabra into the public eye. In 1996, Puerto Rico's El Vocero newspaper published an article about the chupacabra and described a series of other attacks on livestock. The myth of the chupacabra continued to grow as more eyewitness accounts, speculation, and details were added, painting an increasingly mysterious picture. Some people even began to take special measures to defend themselves against the supposed creature, and political officials in Puerto Rico, such as the then mayor of Canovanas, took citizens' reports seriously and even organized searches to capture the creature. In 2000, a story emerged in the Nicaraguan capital of Managua that was taken seriously by the population. Farmers claimed that the chupacabra had begun killing and sucking livestock. In Managua, the legend spread particularly through public interest in the news, and stories about the creature also appeared in the villages surrounding the capital. Here, too, the reporting picked up on local fear and reinforced the image of the chupacabra as a supernatural threat. In 2007, a Texas family from Cuero reported a sinister creature that allegedly attacked their animals on their ranch. The family eventually discovered the strange, dog-like creature dead on a country road and preserved the carcass. The creature's body was almost completely hairless, with bluish, leathery skin, protruding teeth, and long jaws. Ranch owner Phyllis Canyon claimed the creature was a chupacabra and had samples taken for DNA testing. However, these tests later revealed that it was a coyote with an extreme form of mange, Nevertheless, the chupacabra of Texas remains a famous sighting and is often cited as proof of the creature's existence. Another famous sighting occurred in 2014, when Texas hunters shot a strange dog-like animal and claimed it was a chupacabra. They found the animal in a wooded area and posted photos of it online, causing a huge stir. Again, analysis later revealed that it was a likely coyote with severe mange. However, the story was picked up by numerous media outlets and is an example of how cutting-edge technology and social media keep the chupacabra myth alive to this day. Reports of the chupacabra also began to appear outside of America, particularly in Russia, starting in the 2000s. Between 2005 and 2010, there were several reports in Russian villages such as Alexeyevka and other regions of sheep and chickens allegedly killed by a blood-sucking animal. Witnesses claimed to have seen a hairless creature with large eyes and claws. Some villages organized nightly vigils and claimed to have sighted the chupacabra several times, but without ever catching it. Russian media enthusiastically picked up the story and the chupacabra became a creepy new imported myth. One of the most recent and controversial sightings occurred in Chile in 2018, when an unusual carcass was discovered near Santiago. Described as strange and mutated, the creature caused a stir because it had distinctive features: hairless skin, protruding teeth, and elongated claws. Local authorities examined the carcass and concluded that it was that of a deceased fox, severely disfigured by disease. Despite this, many locals believe that the chupacabra did indeed leave its mark here. The chupacabra is typically described as nocturnal and prefers darkness. Its alleged attacks on livestock, particularly goats and other small animals, usually occur in the late evening or early morning hours. Since it sucks blood in these reports, it may hunt sleeping or unprotected animals to evade their defenses. It is believed to be a solitary animal. Most eyewitness accounts and stories suggest that the creature operates alone, possibly to maintain its mysterious and fearsome image. There are no credible reports of chupacabras in groups or packs, suggesting that they are portrayed as shy and isolated creatures that prefer to stalk prey from a distance. Experts were skeptical of the reports from the start and soon came up with various hypotheses to explain the chupacabra sightings. One of the most popular theories was that the creatures described were diseased animals, particularly dogs or coyotes, suffering from mange. Mange is a parasitic infection that causes hair loss and skin changes, so the animals can appear sick and scary. This could also explain why the animals appeared emaciated and aggressive. Some scientists interpreted the reports as a phenomenon of mass suggestion, a type of collective fear that was reinforced by media exposure. Psychologists explain that the panic and fear of an invisible threat caused people to see signs of a chupacabra where there were none in reality. In particular, the detailed eyewitness accounts of unusual features, such as the crest of spikes and reptilian skin, may have been due to people's expectations that created a real form for the invisible threat. It is often speculated that the description of the chupacabra may have been inspired by characters from science fiction. In particular, Tolentino's description of the creature is very similar to the creatures in the film Species from 1995, which depicts genetically modified reptilian creatures. Since the film was released shortly before the first reports of the chupacabra, the image of these fictional creatures may have influenced the depiction of the chupacabra. In addition, it is not uncommon in Latin America to invoke supernatural beings such as ghosts, witches, and monsters as an explanation for inexplicable or unfortunate events. In this context, the chupacabra fits perfectly into a long line of legends and myths designed to explain the inexplicable. In each region, the description of the creature changed slightly, resulting in two different versions of the chupacabra. The reptilian version of the chupacabra is often described as a small to medium-sized creature about the size of a dog, but with a much more sinister appearance. The body is shaped like a small dinosaur or lizard creature and is often covered with scales or thick, crusty areas of skin. This reptilian version of the chupacabra is the most common and also the most popular. It depicts the chupacabra as a carnivorous creature that is notable for both its shape and its violent feeding. This version is particularly well known in the United States, Mexico, and many other Latin American countries. The chupacabra's skin is often described as gray or greenish, which further reminds it of depictions of alien beings. Some reports also mention a reddish-brown skin color. The head is usually large and broad, with a reptilian snout. It is sometimes described as having large, fearsome, bright red eyes. In some versions, the chupacabra has spiky or pointed horns. The teeth are sharp and pointed, indicating that it relies on blood as its primary source of food. It also has sharp claws or talons, which are used for hunting and killing animals. It is often depicted as bipedal or on all fours. Some reports suggest that it can move both upright and crawling, giving it an uncanny versatility in movement. It is also often described as having spikes or thorns along its back, giving it an even more menacing appearance. This depiction of the creature is also the one that appears most often in the media and popular narratives. It has created an image of an aggressive, dangerous being that not only attacks animals but is also capable of threatening humans. The second, less common version of the chupacabra is the dog-like appearance. This version is common in the first reports of chupacabra sightings in Puerto Rico in the 1990s and is often described as some kind of mutated or diseased-looking dog. The chupacabra is described here as a well-behaved hybrid between a dog and a wolf, with the body looking thin, emaciated, and weak. It is described as relatively large, about the size of a wolf but with unusually long legs and a sickly, emaciated appearance. The chupacabra of this version either has no fur or only very thin, torn fur, giving it a hideous, bloody, and sinister appearance. In some accounts, the skin is described as black or gray, often visible beneath the sparse fur. The head is narrow and has an elongated snout, similar to a dog. The eyes are not particularly prominent in this version, but they are often described as bright red or yellow, giving the creature a sinister look. The teeth are also pointed and sharp, but this version is often described as less mythical and more the result of diseases, such as rabies. This chupacabra is depicted as a bloodthirsty predator that feeds on animals such as goats or chickens, but without the supernatural characteristics of the reptilian version. This version of the chupacabra is described as aggressive and territorial, without the seemingly supernatural powers of the reptilian version. It is often the version associated with more real animals such as the coyote type of dog, which is transformed into a dangerous animal by disease or starvation. The reptilian version is the most popular and widely accepted, particularly due to its mystical and supernatural features that make it an intriguing figure in modern mythology. However, the dog-like version is the more original appearance, particularly featured in the first chupacabra sightings from Puerto Rico. Both versions are described in detail and have their own supporters and possible explanations, with the reptilian appearance now gaining far more media coverage and cultural significance. Although the media continues to publish new reports about the chupacabra, most scientific research has so far found no evidence of the existence of an unknown creature. Most eyewitness accounts and finds have been attributed to known animals suffering from extreme environmental conditions or disease. Often they were the carcasses of decaying animals, such as coyotes or dogs, which appeared completely disfigured by skin diseases such as mange. Modern skepticism about the chupacabra has progressed to the point where scientists often resort to simple psychological effects, such as pareidolia, to explain why people see something supernatural or threatening in normal animals. Pareidolia is the phenomenon of recognizing faces of familiar figures in familiar structures such as clouds or shadows. If the chupacabra exists, how could I defend myself if necessary? Since the chupacabra is described more as a predator with supernatural origins, many defense strategies are based on typical defense methods against aggressive creatures. Here are some possible defense approaches. The chupacabra is often described as a nocturnal creature and is thought to avoid bright light. Strong light sources or fire could deter it. Since chupacabras prey on small animals such as goats, reinforced fences or barriers to protect livestock could help. Barbed wire fences and sharp obstacles may keep the creature away. Some reports suggest that loud noises or ultrasonic waves are effective against the chupacabra, similar to other shy animals. Although there is no scientific basis for this, pungent smells or certain repellent sprays may work, as they could potentially deter the creature. The exact origins of the chupacabra remain unclear, and there are several theories about how it came to be. Some theories suggest that the chupacabra is the result of a genetic experiment gone wrong, possibly due to scientific testing or a natural mutation. Another hypothesis is that the chupacabra is an extraterrestrial origin and either came to Earth or became stranded here. Supporters of this theory believe that the creature does not have a biological reproductive system, but would perhaps return to its original habitat to reproduce. In some versions of the legend, the chupacabra is considered a demon, a supernatural being that does not come into existence through natural reproduction, but may manifest itself in certain environments or through magical powers. If the chupacabra were indeed a physical, biological being, it could theoretically reproduce through classical reproduction, much like a predator. However, there are no reports of chupacabra hatchlings or a nest. Therefore, reproduction remains largely mysterious and often plays no role in the legends. The two most common theories about the origin of the chupacabra, genetic experiment or extraterrestrial origin, both have their supporters, and popularity often depends on the cultural or geographical context. It is a genetic experiment or a mutation. This version is particularly popular in the scientifically interested community and seems more rational and plausible to many. The theory states that the chupacabra could have been created through genetic manipulation or experimentation on animals, possibly in a laboratory, and that it subsequently escaped. According to supporters of this theory, the chupacabra was created through mutated genes that give it specific abilities such as bloodlust, sharp teeth or claws, and high intelligence. For example, it could be the result of a military project aimed at developing a deadly creature, or the result of a scientific experiment, perhaps to adapt to extreme environmental conditions or to research diseases. This view sees it as an artificially created creature that was created in a laboratory for special purposes and escaped due to an error. Some speculate that the creature may have been peaceful in origin and the mutations were caused by a viral transmission or faulty experiments. It is a kind of extraterrestrial origin. The idea that the chupacabra is an extraterrestrial creature is particularly popular in countries such as Puerto Rico, Mexico, and Brazil, and is often taught in connection with UFO sightings and paranormal activities. This approach suggests that the chupacabra either originates from another planet or that it is a creature that came to Earth along with extraterrestrial visitors. The extraterrestrial origin theory paints the chupacabra as a creature that either comes directly from another planet or acts as an alien pet, or even a type of drone. Its bizarre appearance, often described as having gray or green skin, large glowing eyes, spikes or scales, is consistent with common depictions of extraterrestrial creatures. Some reports mention that it looks like a grey alien and feeds on animal blood, possibly because it relies on alien nutrients. Proponents of this theory also point out that chupacabra sightings are sometimes accompanied with UFO sightings, which could provide a direct link to extraterrestrial origins. In spite of its relatively young age, what areas has the chupacabra made it to what we know of? The chupacabra has appeared in several low-budget horror films, such as Chupacabra Terror from 2005 and Chupacabra vs. the Alamo from 2013. These films often play with the idea that the creature ends up in an urban environment through experimentation or accidental release. The creature is also addressed in Guillermo del Toro's Serious Cabinet of Curiosities from 2022 and the children's film Chupa from 2023. The latter, however, more as a cute, mystical creature. The creature appears in episodes of popular series such as The X-Files and Supernatural. These series portray the chupacabra as a threatening supernatural creature that fascinates viewers with its creepy appearances. The name El Chupacabra has actually appeared in wrestling. Californian wrestler Anthony Torres has been performing under this fighting name since the early 2000s. His gimmick is a crazy, scary character, inspired by the mystical creature itself. The choice of name gives him a mysterious, wild aura and gives him the reputation of a fearsome fighter, which goes down well with fans. In the world of video games, the chupacabra has found its place as an enemy or character in games such as Red Dead Redemption, particularly in the Undead Nightmare expansion, and Far Cry Primal. Players can hunt the creature or fight it as a supernatural threat, giving the game an exciting, mystical touch. The popular game The Sims 4 also features references to the chupacabra in the form of fables and stories that can be told to Sims. Music also includes references to the chupacabra. Several bands from the rock, punk, and metal genres have written songs that feature the legend. Fish, an American rock band, has a song called Chupacabra. Rappers such as Method Man and Missy Elliott have also referenced the chupacabra in their lyrics, using the creature as a metaphor for something sinister or dangerous. The chupacabra often appears in comics and graphic novels, where it is described as an antagonist or mysterious creature. In the Scooby-Doo comic universe, there's an episode in which the group tracks down the chupacabra. The chupacabra is also frequently mentioned and analyzed in non-fiction books and essays on urban legends and cryptozoology. In literature, there are novels and short stories that take up the chupacabra, usually in the form of horror or fantasy stories. The chupacabra has also established itself as a meme and in internet forums, especially in the form of conspiracy theories or humorous posts. In online culture, the creature is often described as a creepy intruder and photoshopped to humorously insert it into everyday situations. Some Mexican and Latin American brands, particularly in the field of energy drinks or as mascots for sports teams, used the chupacabra as a symbol of strength and perseverance. The idea behind the use of the name is often that the creature is strong, resilient, and mysterious, attributes that are valued in such fields. That's it for today. I can't say anything more about the chupacabra. As always, no guarantee of accuracy or completeness. I hope you enjoyed the stories about the chupacabra. If you want to learn more about the fascinating world of fairy tales and legends, stay tuned and don't miss our next episodes. Until next time, stay curious and goodbye. All the best. See you soon.